Mr.
Jim Gloyd.
Mr. Jim Gloyd, and I have Mr. Rob Ray, and I have Mr. Deathlock in the building.
What up?
So, fellas, without disrespect, this gentleman has to be out at 11. So we're going to go and knock him out, let him get his business out the way, and then get back to us.
All right.
So the phone number is 614-636-5601. Call in and or text. I will ask you your text back as soon as I see it. And good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you, Mr. Frost.
It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
So tell us about your poster. Your movie.
Okay. The movie. All right. Well, I just looked it up. I got into acting actually about 2 years and 4 months ago. Actually, it feels more like 3 years ago. I said it had to be from where the Lord has taken me from at the very beginning until now. I said it had to be longer than that. But I looked it up, and I got picked up to be an extra in the movie I Am Wrath here in Columbus. It was starring John Travolta and Chris Maloney, and that's where it all kind of started. And so that was the beginning. I got picked up for it. I had the look they wanted for that certain scene, and a couple days later.
Wait, I have to ask.
Yeah.
What was the part and what was the scene?
It was a shooting scene.
Right. And so who were you?
I was basically bar attendee or patron, where I was, actually in there on the dance floor. And when the shooting started, I had to bump into like Chris Maloney and be there right beside John Travolta when he disarmed someone and all that good stuff.
Nice.
And so within a couple of days, I was literally rubbing shoulders with John Travolta and Chris Maloney, doing rehearsals after rehearsals with them. And so, it was cool. It was like, well, okay, that was pretty awesome. After a couple of days, I got to do this. And, I'm always, I'm in Ohio. I'm surrounded by cornfields. That kind of experience doesn't come along every day. So, it's like it's a once in a lifetime thing. But that was pretty cool. Some people said, well, you never know what that might lead to. And I'm like, well, I was very pessimistic. I was like, I don't think it's going to lead to anything. And then, I met some people in the business. I got picked up to do some other work. With some casting directors here, got picked up with other casting directors, and then I've, since 2.5 years, I've rubbed shoulders and been on sets with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I've done stunts in a Nicolas Cage movie. The more I was faithful to it, I got more featured roles and stuff. And a Bruce Willis movie that just came out, First Kill. Another John Travolta movie where I was a district attorney. That's coming out here real soon, The Life and Death of John Gotti. And during that process, I said, well, just to make myself, a little bit more marketable, where they might want to cast me a little bit more, I'll go ahead and do some acting lessons. And so I did some acting lessons, and the acting coach thought that I should get a manager or an agent, that I was good enough.
Sure.
And that's not really was my goal at the very beginning, but I went ahead and did it anyway, and did an audition for an agent and got picked up, and then found myself doing some commercials. And so, that's pretty awesome. So then I ended up getting the lead role as the lead detective in a movie that's ready to be released here toward the end of the year, or the beginning of 2018, called Gene Pool, as the lead detective. And so that was kind of the next barrier. I was already a published author at the beginning anyway. My work can be found on Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com and other book retailers like that. And so I was already working on a book of short stories.
Can you just name the book, please? Give us the title.
The book that's already released on Amazon.com is called Becoming Free from the Judas in Me. It's an inspirational book. Some of the struggles that we meet on the road of life, if you will. Sometimes we fall short just like Judas does. And like Judas kind of got down on himself, we get really down on ourselves. And, we just think we fall from God's grace and that we can't get back, or he won't forgive us and things like that. And so becoming free from that Judas in me, the betrayer, but also that guilt-ridden person, and trusting on that Jesus paid the price, and that price was good enough. And so So that's already published, and it's already out there. But I wrote a different kind of book this time. It was a book of short stories that the Lord inspired me with, that actually had They were inspirational in content, but they had kind of like a Twilight Zone or that paranormal twist to them that made them really interesting. And then in the midst of all this, doing some acting and these kind of things, one day the Lord just plainly told me, not that he was forbidding me to make it into a book, but he showed me that what you have there, he said, is some movie concepts. And that just kind of blew my mind.
Wait, hang on. Rob, can we switch seats? Because I want to use a microphone. Because they can't. I don't have a microphone. We've got too many people in the studio. All right. I got a microphone now.
All right.
And, wait. And we're both in picture. Okay. So God said, you got to make this into a movie.
He said, you got some movies concepts there. So I said, okay, where do I go with that? Well, I had went down out of state and auditioned for a TV series. And I felt led to get my work to them. I've stayed kind of in contact with these producers, this production company that will remain unnamed. And then they did. They were willing to look at them.
Yeah.
I sent them 6 of my stories, and then I got 2 weeks later, I got an email that they wanted to meet, which was a thumbs up to me because, if they didn't like it, of course, they would have told me straight up, you're not going to waste your time having somebody come out of state to tell them that you don't like their work.
So you sent them 6 stories. Were they like, hey, we like this one, but not so much this one, or what was that like?
Well, the good thing was they liked them all.
All
they
right.
really liked 3 of them. Really good, that they would like to make movies out of 3 of them, and the one they liked the most, of course, was The Wager.
The Wager.
Yeah. And so what was kind of neat, though, and this is part of the process, within 2 years, and 4 months here, is that it was my footsteps being ordered by the Lord, because they were so busy that they asked me to start writing the script. And so I'm like, well, I never wrote a script before. And they said, well, you are a writer, though. And so, you can handle this. And so they kind of talked me through it and told me what kind of software. Mm-hmm. So next thing I know, I wrote it and the software. At the same time, the Lord opened the door for me to become friends with a 6-time Emmy Award winner, Emmy Award-winning producer, Vince McVeigh, and we talked about it. And so, I got my script out there in some film festivals. Didn't even actually know that you could... there's a big competition for scripts in there. Yeah. And so then it becomes
good job, Jim.
Yeah,
I like the way you do that.
Yeah, so here we go. It's reversed. But it became an award-winning script. And so then I'm like, where do we go from there? And then and this, like I said, it was all God putting this together, because then a production company that I actually presented it to split. There was a split or a division within that production company. And at the same time, I'm having Vince McVeigh saying, why don't we just produce it right here in the heart of Ohio? And that's kind of where I felt led to do anyway, instead of taking it out, but to share this experience with the people here in Ohio.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've decided to do, and that's what we're doing right now. That's preparing ourselves for.
That's fantastic. And what part of the process are you at right now?
We're called pre-production right now. Yeah. We're finalizing the script. The script is already an award-winning script, but I felt led to go back and make a couple changes within the script. And so that's being finished right now. At the same time, we're finalizing the budget. I could get started on the budget, but, we found a different way to get the budget, and that works effectively. I'm consulting with 2 filmmakers that has great success in their filmmaking careers, and they showed me how to get the budget, a little bit bigger budget than the typical indie film around here probably would use. With these consultants on my side, I know it's going to soar and that it's going to get distribution, because the people I have alongside me putting it together has done that quality of work. As a matter of fact, one of the persons that I just was speaking with last night and even this morning, the very first film he did it so good that he got Warner Brothers to distribute it for him, and has a great success in his other films in the inspirational genre. And so God has opened doors for me to bring in the right people to do this right the first time. And so,
what's his name?
His name is Dallas Jenkins. He just came out with the movie The Resurrection of Galvin Stone, that had the lead character was Brett Dalton from Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, a lot of people know him as Agent Ward.
Okay.
And he's had a What If. I remember watching that years back with Kevin Sorbo and a lot of other lead actors. I'm also talking to Doc Benson. Doc Benson's a great director that's coming on board to help me with it.
So are these your two mentors that you were talking about?
Yeah, there's two. I actually have one, but I'm going to leave him unnamed.
Okay. All right. Mystery.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I heard that you've got a couple of churches on board as well. That's exciting.
Yeah, I do. Right now, they're going to help the budget. I have one that just spoke to the pastor. It's of a larger church within our area, and he has already spoken to the board and said, we really need to support this. This is an awesome work. And so I think there's going to be some help coming, you know, from that tributary, if you will. I have another church that is looking to give monetarily, but also they have another big church, have the nice kitchen. And so they got a ladies group that just loves to cook food and use that as their ministry. And he thinks that they will be able to, they're checking right now, and they'll be able to provide food and things like that for the production when we're actually filming and shooting, which definitely help the budget in many ways. And there's other churches that I still need to meet with. And so, yeah, a lot of neat things in that arena too, since it's an inspirational film that some of the local churches want to get involved as well.
All right. Okay. If you would like to call in and join the conversation, you can do so at 614-636-5601. I'm here in studio with actor, director, producer, Jim Gloyd, and we're talking about his movie, The Wager. I'm going to switch microphones really quick, so I'm going to disappear, but I'm not really going to disappear. Hang on. See, I'm still here. We are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to be right back and talk some more with Jim Gloyd.
To get it back on track, back on track, back on track. Shot the plane out of the sky. Shot the plane out of the sky. Shot the plane out of the sky. We went down in flames, when I don't know why. Don't know why. off the track. Oh, I don't know if I'll ever be able to get it back on the track. Off the track. Knock the train off the track. Ooh, oh, mama, now knock the train off the track. But I don't know if I'll ever be able to get it back on track. Back on track. Back on track.
Oh, you never did pot the mic sound.
I just realized that. That's why I'm looking down into the corner. I'm like, I never potted the mics down.
Well, anyway, y'all heard everything.
Every last thing.
I don't know nothing about embezzlement or nothing.
I'm so glad that the mics weren't potted down, actually, because we were talking about some really interesting things that we're just going to continue talking about.
So,
His resume
right.
and his commercials.
That is a real impressive resume for real. It really is.
Thank you,
the
DJ
Bruce, the Bruce Willis movie, and I was trying to loiter, for a better word, and see if they could catch me catching the bus or something, but they weren't doing it. Plus, the time they were shooting, I wasn't around. So
it turns out that not only was Jim an extra on the movie with John Travolta, I Am Wrath, but so was I, and so was Deflock.
That's right.
So why y'all just y'all can't just drop all this on me at one time.
You should see
man.
DJ Frost's face right
I'll
now.
mess around and have a heart attack. So like, wow, y'all not telling me y'all had a small
We're
part?
telling you right now.
That's after the fact.
This is exclusive. It's happening as it's happening.
Wow, that's stuff. So how was it? Did y'all get a chance to talk to him?
No, we did not get a chance to talk to him. John Travolta was not in that scene.
Okay, so he
That
probably wasn't
we're-
even there.
We was at the State House. They were shooting. He was there, but he was like at another scene because they shot like 4 different places in Columbus.
Right.
They had the church scene, the State House scene,
And
they had
then
the
right
bar
there in
scene.
between
That's
the-
the scene. He was in the bar scene,
The
right?
Rose
Right.
building.
I did get to meet him. I don't know if people see that.
Oh, that's
Right
what's
left.
up.
So I did get my
Oh.
picture taken with him. I did get to speak with him. Chris Maloney as well was on set.
Now, Chris Maloney, what?
Chris Maloney from
You probably
that,
can't see that picture, but if you go to Jim Gloyd's Facebook page, I'm pretty sure he probably has that picture posted.
yeah. I actually have a website that
That's what's up.
has a lot of my information.
What's your website?
It's jimgloyd.com. Makes it real simple.
JimGloyd.com.
Yeah, Jim Gloyd.
So tell us about some of the commercials you did.
Wait, hold on. That's JimGloyd.
Yeah.
.com.
Yeah, like Lloyd with a G in front. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Yeah, well, because of my schedule, I've lately had to turn down a lot of commercials, but I have been in a couple commercials right there, and it was mostly around the election season, so both of them was political. Actually did one where I was in a commercial for the Columbus prosecutor, Ron O'Brien,
Okay.
and who did get reelected, by the way.
Yeah.
and another one was also for a governor in Arkansas, so all the way in Arkansas.
Wow.
And I'm happy to say that he got reelected too. So we must have did a good job.
That's
Yeah,
what's
that's
up.
what's
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. So
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about the movie a little bit more.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm not going to talk about it, but I am going to ask a few questions. Now, I'm looking at this poster here, and it's you and Bishop Stevens and Robert Seven.
Robert Seven.
All right. Can we talk about how you got to be connected with these two actors and what they've done?
Yeah, absolutely.
past?
Absolutely. I wish I had the information in front of me. Actually, Bishop Stevens, his manager, actually wrote up the connection between these two actors and myself, and it was really well written. Probably a whole lot easier than I can say off the cuff of my hand. But Robert Seven, he's been in several movies, like 12 Monkeys, Stardust. He was actually in I Am Wrath, but not as an extra. He was actually one of the main players. He was actually had a large speaking role. He was actually one that was the right-hand man of the guy that killed John Travolta's wife in the movie.
Okay.
And so he ultimately gets interrogated by Chris Maloney and John Travolta, and it doesn't turn out well for him. So I guess being killed and thrown in a dumpster and getting gasoline put on you and set on fire is not a good way to end your day.
No.
And so that's Robert Seven in I Am Wrath. And so he's a SAG actor and doing a fine job. He's been in Chicago PD also, with lead actors in co-starring with lead actors in Chicago PD, and doing really good. And I actually met him at the movie premiere of I Am Wrath. And so we got pictures, and we talked for a while, so we hit it off. So he gave me his business card, and I was able to get back in contact with him about this endeavor right here. There is a crime syndicate within in this movie called The Wager, where the main actor, Bruce, actually Brucey when he was younger.
Just to clarify, we're talking about your movie now,
The
Wager.
My movie, The Wager.
Okay, so a little summary of, okay.
Yeah, a little summary there is, well, just like any good movie, just like Aaron Sorkin within his master's class of script writing teaches, every movie has a journey. And on that journey, you have to have those obstacles. If you don't have the obstacles, it's not a good movie. So, if you're going from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast because you need that heart transplant, you can better believe you're going to run out of gas, you're going to get mugged, and you're going to get in a wreck, you're going to get your car stolen, you're going to end up in the back of that pickup truck that has all the chicken coops in it, right? I mean, we all know this is going to happen before you get to your transplant, because if those obstacles don't happen, then you don't have a good story. And so within my story, we definitely have this journey, and it starts with him actually getting abandoned on the police house steps, and he's in and out of like 17 foster homes. His life is, he's being influenced, all that, and he gets in a lot of trouble.
And when you say he, what's the main character's name?
Bruce.
All right, Bruce.
And so, it goes from his childhood, and then we have a time jump into his adult when The Wager actually takes place. And so, but so we have that, so we have those obstacles to where he gets kidnapped even by this drug syndicate to kind of do their bidding or running, if you know what I mean. And so Robert Seven here is actually ahead of that, the drug syndicate, and his name is Tiberius in the movie.
Yeah.
And then he kind of got his muscle, you always have to have the muscle, right?
But I feel like we skipped over a very important and pertinent point, which is the fact that the lead, Bruce, is played by none other than...
Yeah, me, right. Yeah.
Jim Gloyd.
The adult Bruce, right?
Yes, the adult Bruce.
So so that's kind of Robert Seven's role in it. And then Bishop, we were talking about, was actually a professional wrestling, not only a professional wrestler, but he was a champion. And so he got into acting, and he's a rising star. He's coming up really quick and doing a lot of different kind of movies. He's done a lot of fantasy type movies and warrior type movies, and doing a fantastic job. So he's going to be kind of the muscle. You
He's
need
the
that
muscle.
You need that muscle that in a movie that isn't necessarily the brains of the operation, if you know what I mean, but the muscle. And so that's his role in the movie. And I actually met him doing stunts in a Nicolas Cage movie called Mom and Dad. And so we stayed in contact after that movie.
There are people out there that don't know that there are all these movies taking place in this Midwest area. And I just want to reiterate that, Jim, you don't travel too far to do all this movie business, do you?
No, to be, and and a lot of the movies that I have been, and I'm sure I haven't named them all, because there's just been many within the last 2 years.
You've been able to pretty much stay in the Ohio area, is that right?
Well, almost, yeah. I mean, I've gone from Cleveland all the way down to Kentucky, so I've been in Kentucky a few times. Cincinnati and Kentucky has a lot of business going on, and in Cleveland as well.
All right.
And they have a nice city that can easily be translated into looking like New York or another major city. And I think that's why Cleveland and Cincinnati has that attraction.
Okay. And so your background, artistically speaking, is mostly as a writer,
Yeah, that would be a fair assumption.
but you got the acting bug at some point about approximately 3 years ago.
Yeah, I did.
And you've had quite a journey from then till now. There are folks out there in our area and beyond who would love to get into acting. What do you have to say to them?
Well, we actually have some very good acting coaches, to believe it or not, right here in the Columbus area. And it wasn't necessarily, one of them aspirations of mine to do this all along. I just think God he gave me these stories and really wanted to get these out there. And so, he led me down a path to get me to that point. But yeah, I really enjoy acting now. And so what I would do, there's a lot of expensive things out there. There's a lot of scams out there. You have to really be careful when you go to get into acting. People take advantage of you.
I see Rob Ray nodding his head vigorously over there in the corner.
I had a couple incidents like that.
Yeah, and you're not alone, Rob. You're definitely not alone. And I thank the good Lord for protecting me and doing this. At the same time, as I was doing some extra work, my daughter actually was a friend. Had a friend that was going to Columbus, and basically he was attending one of these supposed schools that was a scam. And I read right through it and told my daughter, no, we got acting in Columbus. It's called acting. That is the name of the business, by the way, the acting school. It's by Richard Mason, and it's called Acting in Columbus. And they have you can start out with a weekend boot camp. I don't want to quote the price, I think it's very generous.
But you can go to actingincolumbus.com to find out more information.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even like $500. It's like $350 for a weekend, Friday night, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday. And you get some information on general practices of acting. You get a whole informational packet of kind of what it's all about, acting, the pros and cons of the business. You get the one day that teaches commercials. You got one day that teaches film. And it really is a good introduction class.
That was my first acting class in Columbus, by the way. The boot camp.
So there you go, the boot camp. It's a good way to start out. And then he has other classes that you can go all week. And Richard doesn't hold back. I mean, he'll tell you point blank on
what you're doing wrong.
What you're doing wrong is one way of putting it. So a lot of people don't like that kind of approach, but it is effective, and some people do like that. And so, so that's one option. We also, another one that I went to here in Columbus is called Broadway to LA. And this has the number 2, by the way, Broadway to LA. And that's Chad Willett. And he has a much more
user-friendly.
Okay. We'll use that. For emotional people that's not, as easily hurt, I guess, you could say that Chad has a gentler approach. But both instructors will teach you what you need to learn. And so I want to preface that right there, that I'm not definitely don't want to speak ill with them, because I've sat under both of them. Both of them have been instrumental to get me to where I am. Chad has a very practical way of teaching method acting, and that's a very practical way of acting, and it's easier to learn and grab than a lot of the different kind of acting methods out there. And so that's very good. I've done one-on-one personal classes on him too. And then there's actually one that an actor that's done very well, been in a lot of movies. We're talking like, speaking parts of some major movies. I think he's even been on some soap operas. His name's Kevin McClatchy, that's in the Columbus area. And I'll say that he's a little harder to get into but he did just actually have a slot open, and I told him I would take that. So I'm getting ready. I've been wanting to work with Kevin now for about 2 years and haven't been able to do so. So I'm finally getting that opportunity. So that's not one that you can probably jump right into. The other two I mentioned probably have a lot more availabilities and openings to get into. So if somebody's really seriously looking to get into acting business or say, hey, what's
There it
that
is.
about? I would check out like Acting in Columbus
Yeah.
or Broadway to LA. That would be a very good way to first start out.
Let me ask you a question, sir. Well, it's a two-part question. My first one is, what was some of your... Oh, it's a three-part question now.
Uh-oh.
One, what were some of your memorable moments working with both actors from the two big movies,
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Willis and John Travolta?
Oh,
Your most memorable moments on set.
Or even not on set, just in talking to them.
yeah. Just number one, Bruce Willis he wasn't there the day I was there, but I did appear in the movie. Wasn't a big part; it was an extra part, more of a featured. If you get in with the acting and you can get in with the acting coaches, the more you're faithful to show up and do things, you can build out reports. Everything's about networking in the
Right,
business
right.
and building a rapport with the people that are hiring you. And as you get to know them and they get to see your demeanor and everything, that then you can move up to more featured, places. And the Bruce Willis movie was real simple, but I'm like within the very first few seconds of the movie, I'm just pushing a wheelchair through a scene. That's all it was. It was actually the quickest time I ever been on set. For a total of 3 hours, I got there.
That's quick.
Yeah, you know it, don't you?
Yeah.
And as an extra, sometimes it's not always glamorous. Sometimes it can be.
Hurry up and wait.
Hurry up and wait. Sometimes you could sit in one room for 7 hours waiting for that part that they need you in to get there. So to get in and out in 3 hours means I got with my casting director rep. They're called a wrangler. They got me signed in. They got information that I was there to the producer. They got me in wardrobe. They've got me my signage on and stuff to where I look like a male nurse. They were filming when they needed mine. They got me right in and filmed it. And right when the movie comes on, we got Hayden Christensen that was in the movie. Now, he played Anakin Skywalker in the prequel of the Star Wars series, and he's doing a Wall Street scene. He calls his wife, and right when he calls his wife, she's in a busy hallway. That's what we're trying to make it look like anyway. It was a busy
Sure.
hallway at the hospital. And when they say action, I come right around the corner pushing a wheelchair, and as he's talking on her cell phone, it cuts back to him. And then when it cuts back to her, a couple different scenes, you can see me push the wheelchair right by her. And so, it was very simple, but it's within the first minute of the movie. I did get to meet Chris Maloney, and I did get to meet, as we said, Chris Maloney and John Travolta. Had just a brief conversation with them. On set, you really can't talk. I can't talk to people when I'm filming. You can't talk. One example is Arnold Schwarzenegger is a perfect example. When I wrote, it's called Aftermath, or the movie, it was called 478. And when I got at the Columbus airport, they were already filming. He was in the middle of a shoot. And when they brought me in to the next scene, he was in line. Actually, he was up at the counter talking to the stewardess or whatever they're called in the airport. And I was put in line right behind Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so I was kind of next in line. And when they say action, what you do is they give you what's called a number one position. And that is your starting point. And they'll tell you what to do when they say action, and you will do that. And so when they say action, you go through your part. And then, so my position was to take Arnold Schwarzenegger's number one position at the counter as a customer. And then, and so, it was only like one time that I could even communicate, or Arnold actually communicated with me, because we were filming when I got there, and they moved him right on and was filming when we left, And one time when they said, but after they do, I did like 15 rehearsals are 15 retakes with Arnold there in that one scene. Like 15 times we reshot it. And after I go at the counter, he goes and did what he had to do. And then he'll say back to number one. You go back to number one, and then you get ready to do it. And then one time I was left at the counter, and it happened so quick. They said back to number one. When Arnold got back, I was still in his position. And so he said, go back to your number one. And then he got that big Arnold grin, you know. And so that was my communication with Arnold in the whole movie. But, you know, I mean, so sometimes it happens just like that, you know, real quick.
And when you're on set, you're cautioned not to talk to the principal actors, not because they're trying to keep you separate or anything like that, but just because there's a lot of people on set, and you know, people just have to get their work done. And
Right. I
if
understand
everybody
that.
wants to chit chat with the stars, then
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
More like, you know, off to the side. You know, sometimes
that's exactly what they're talking about.
some people might be able to, you know, some
Right.
people are real approachable. Some stars, you know, don't even want to be around the rest of the, we'll say, lower level cast members.
Well,
If you ain't a star member of their caliber and whatnot, then, you know, and
Well, it's the same with music too.
yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I was just at the concert with Fetty Wap, and we almost had to chase him down to get a conversation with him because he came right off the stage and jumped right on a golf cart and was gone. Like
Wow.
it was like I thought he was gonna stop because everybody was at the side of the stage. The side he must have seen the side of the stage where people were standing. So instead of him coming off the right side, he ran off the left side. Security's right there. Boom, they jump right on the golf cart and start taking off. I run up to him like, hey, give him the mixtape, and they was gone. You know what I mean? So it's like it wasn't no stopping to talk to nobody, you know, take no pictures.
I think that's kind of rude, because if it's not for the people that come see your movies, come to your shows, you really are nobody.
Well, you know, you're very personable, DJ Frost, Mr. Friendly guy.
Well, I mean,
You talk to everybody, and you like talking to people.
our on-air personality, Mr. From Power 107. I mean, not Power 1. He used to be with Power 107. He's with Boom now. City.
Yeah.
He told us, and this is the most realest person I can ever be around. He said, you know, he came here and spoke to the whole school, and it was packed when he came and talked. He was like, somebody asked him, how do you deal with the public? He said, somebody come up to you and shake your hand. It's not about you. It's about them. Because if they don't listen to your show, they don't go see your movies, you're nobody. So every time somebody pull up on you, you automatically, I don't care if your stomach hurt and you don't feel good, you better fake it and make them feel comfortable and make it all about them. They ask, how was your day, and this, that, and the third. How was your day? And you better be enthused about it, because that's a lasting impression. Because some people, like some stars, some people say, oh, this star, I met them and they bougie, and this person, they real down to earth. So, you know, and Lil D, she's another person that I take personal to, because if you heard their background, it's not everybody's background. Like Drake, he said he started from the bottom and came to the top. Those two on-air personalities actually started from the bottom and came from the top. And if you heard their struggle, you would have a whole different respect and outlook on it. And so they told me, you know, when you get in a position like this, it's not about you. It's about the people that come into your studio and you interview.
But
It's
here,
about y'all.
I tell you this what you say is true, but at the same time, I can also understand the other side because I've been on both, you know what I mean? And like Steve Harvey said, he got to a point where I'm pretty sure you heard about when he wrote that letter and told everybody stop coming in his dressing room and all that shit. Stuff. The reason is because he was being so nice to people. And every time he came out the dressing room, he's shaking people's hand, can't get his coffee. Somebody got his phone. People is in his room. And he's like, I got to get ready for the show. I need some peace. Everybody coming in and out of my room. So he just said from now on, nobody backstage. Nobody in my dressing room. Nobody knock. No, you know what I'm saying?
But at the same time, you know what this was when you signed up for it.
Yeah, but you got to protect yourself too.
That's true.
You know, because
That's why you got bodyguards.
Yeah, but I don't
Now
know
if they
have
slip
like
up and
You
let
see,
you go in for
my
your
thing
spot,
is, I understand like sometimes you're busy and you ain't got time to shake everybody's hand and take pictures with everybody.
you got to. You got to have time to shake their hand. You got to.
But when you I forgot, lost my train of thought.
Well, the reason why I say you got to is because, once again, I met Miss Marva. I apologize. I met Miss Marva through. I forgot how we met. How do we meet, Marva?
I said hello to you in the hallway, and you're like, "Do you have a moment? Can you be on the show, like right now?" And I'm like, "Sure."
Right, but okay, you was in here with. I forget.
I was here taking a workshop, a DJ workshop.
That's how it was. Yeah, that's how we met.
Thank
And
you.
at first, I thought that she was a student. I'm like, I ain't never seen her around here. Maybe she's an evening student. So I'm always, I am a friendly person. Sometimes that's a bad thing because people think you some type of, something else. But my thing is, I'm a 2-time graduate from this school. So it's my job. I take it personally, and I think it's supposed to be everybody else's job that graduates from here. You supposed to, when you're not busy and you here and you just shooting the breeze or whatnot, help these, I call them my little brothers and sisters. Help them so they can graduate, so they can, make them want to come back here for video editing, sports, or whatever.
Well, you have a natural ability to network, and you're not even thinking that that's what you're doing. You also connect people automatically, and that's your gift, and that's what you have to offer. You make connections, and you will invite anyone to participate in what you're doing.
Well, not
And
anyone.
also in having them be your guest, your mind automatically goes to, how can I help them? Who can I connect them with? Who else is in my circle of influence that I can connect them with to help them? So you're a helper and a communicator. So that's just who you are.
No,
To answer your, I never really fully answered that question, but I understand exactly what you're saying. As a matter of fact, like I said, John Travolta, when we were done, I understand on set they can't,
right.
because having a principal part in a full feature movie now called Gene Pool, where I was the lead detective. Now, I can tell you that in between shots, you're thinking about your next lines, you're preparing yourself for that next scene,
Right.
and you just can't stop and have that general conversation because you're thinking about your next line, especially if they're actually sitting there getting ready to film you, and you say cut back to number one just that quick, they're going to film it again. You can't take the time in the whole middle of the production, obviously, to have this conversation.
Also, to add to that, it was just like when we was at the I Am Raft thing. They had the cameras set up ready. So, like, you got to realize these is big cameras. The camera dudes is holding these things. When they get ready to film, they're not stopping. They're going to get that piece of footage they need. So they need you to be alert because they don't want to have to stop and do it again because they're already going to do it 14 times. We don't want to have to do it a 15th time because you ain't looking.
Right.
So it's like that's why it ain't no talking. It's just focus on the scene. We get ready to shoot.
Yeah.
Cut action. Boom, and you better be ready. You know what I'm saying? Or they will edit you out the movie.
Real quick.
They will edit
Stuff.
you.
They'll put some trees in there. Hey, you driving down the road. Like, what happened to that spell out there? Instead of going there.
Right.
You'll find out that a lot of the extras that out there that get called back and that's doing a lot are actors or have been in to some media or doing something along that line, and that's and it leads and there's a lot of times that these extras do get bumped up. Sometimes a lot of people says that they don't, but I know several films where they did get bumped up to a speaking role. Okay. And so long story short, John Travolta was gracious enough afterwards to do a meet and greet, and speak briefly and get some pictures, and Chris Maloney. But then some you do that go over and beyond that, like you said. A perfect example of that, I actually wasn't on this one, but it was filmed down in Kentucky. It was a Hallmark movie, and I actually forget the name of what the movie was called, but it had John Voight in it. John Voight, I've seen videos, I've seen pictures, and when they were in between shoots and you went to rest or something in another room, John Voight came in. He played the guitar with them, and I mean, So that's what you're talking about, being real personable. He came in and sit down with them, talk to everybody, just like he was one of them. And so John Voight and some of them, that that's a little more rare probably, but it does happen.
Yeah.
Because I like I like people that's down to earth. Now I know sometimes money changes a person, or it's just their attitude that's just how dude is, or the lady is, she's this way. She don't, unless you go through her manager or whatnot, you're not talking to her. So my next question is, do you shooting your own movies, directing your own movies, do you ever use like people from here from the media school? Because we also have a background in film editing, acting, because we all have to shoot our own movies and we all have to do a class movie. So do you do anything like that?
I haven't looked into that, no. Right now the ones that I've that the doors have opened for me to surround myself with has been in the film industry. And so it's not something that I've looked at. Not that it's totally out of the question or something you bring up at this point.
We got some real good editors. We got some real good cameramen.
Okay.
And camera women too, because we
so
have.
they'd be open for something like that to help out on a film or something.
Definitely. Can you hand him the
This here?
yes, that one right there.
So
That gentleman right there, cold on the camera.
you're doing really good, by the way, DJ Frost, because I was thinking you said that was a 3-part question. I just wondered if you was going to remember that third part. A lot of people would have got sidetracked within that last 20-minute conversation, probably.
Well, I mean,
But
it's what I do. So,
yeah.
He shoots video. He
Okay.
edits video. He does a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He has a show on here. So.
And is that Kid Cash?
Yes. He has his own little 3K entertainment or something like that.
And I'm going to say yes, he is very good. So
Yeah, he was in one of his movies.
I was in one of his movies. So what DJ Frost is saying is that here at the Ohio Media School, of course, there are a lot of students and alumni that can be resources for your film if you need crew, talent, background, more information. Just we're here.
I got a contact.
And you have a contact.
You're my
And you have another
Right?
contact.
We would love. I'm just throwing this out here. I personally would come back and sit in the classroom and love to hear you speak to the whole school about what you've been through. And okay, so here's my third part question. Before you even got in front of a camera, did you ever think that you would be directing movies?
Oh no. Yeah, like I said, this was 2 years and 4 months ago, right?
Right.
Before that 2 years, if they would have told me, hey, like next month or next year you're going to be in a movie rubbing shoulders with John Travolta, or you're going to do stunts and working, with Robert Downey Jr.'s personal stunt double, and you're going to be, doing this movie, rubbing shoulders with. I would have thought they were crazy. So, not only that, but you're going to write within that 2 years. You're going to write an award-winning script, and you're going to be producing your own movie with a 6-time Emmy award-winning producer. What
So you're just
that
busy.
wasn't an aspiration. It was never a thought. If anything, I might have been in a whole lot of doubt. Maybe I'm not sure.
So you're just busy answering calls. Like you're being called to,
yeah,
and you're saying yes, sure,
yeah.
and then you
I just jumped through the hoops.
yeah.
Where I'm at right now, I physically had to do these things. I physically had to submit for something or go to an audition or write the script. I physically did these things, but I look back, it just doesn't seem like I did a whole lot. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just, I give the glory to God because it just seems so easy. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I know it don't happen like that for everybody, but
True.
so, as long as the rest is easy, keep up the good work, God, right?
Right,
So,
right.
Now I've been noticing since I've been sitting here, and even when I held it up at the camera. Tell us about those these here.
Awards.
Yes.
yeah, well, all right, these are from different film festivals, and a lot of people It's a good question because a lot of people don't know about that. I knew little about it. These are called laurels, and you get laurels when you get these laurels, and you get them for your film or your script when you're accepted into something. You get to the next step in the competition, if you will, or you even get laurels called official selection. And I got 4 more laurels to go with them. I could have put 8 on there. They all say official selection. A lot of people will put I just seen a big time movie come out. I forget what it's called, and seen it on TV. And they had showed 2 laurels of official selection, and that was the name. So it's kind of a big deal to get an official selection. And so an official selection means you have been selected for them to even look at your script or even look at your movie, and it's accepted within the competition. Because at film festivals, they get so many films that to get an official selection is a pretty big deal just to even get it in there, let alone become a finalist or semi-finalist, or in like this one, I got the best writer, and here I got the best script. And so to be able to do that says a lot about the script itself.
That's true. So this is like a nomination, then, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. The official selection is like a nomination. You're nominated to be,
you haven't won, but we just thinking about.
We've considered.
Yeah, right, that's a good way of putting
it. We are at the top of the hour here, so we're going to wrap up with Jim.
So before we do that, I want to ask one more question. What to anybody out here that's thinking about, or they got a book, they got a movie script, they just don't know what to do, and they thinking about, put something on their mind that's going to make them push forward and go on and do it.
Well, we kind of touched on the acting bit.
No, I'm talking about like, and that even goes for you. That's for anybody in this room, but preferably he's getting ready to leave, so I want him to address it. But this goes for everybody in the room. Before y'all leave, I want y'all to leave something positive, because there's a lot of people that want to go into the directing business, want to go into the commercials, want to be singers, rappers, producers, managers, this, that, and the third. But, they got this idea, but it's on paper. I want them to take it from paper and put it into motion.
Yeah, I would just say try to find your motivation. I'm not sure where everybody's motivation can come from different places. Who's the talk show host of the Family Feud?
Oh,
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey.
We were talking about him.
Steve always has a good. You ever seen the clips? I mean, look him up. He's got these clips out there when actually Family Feud was all done, and he gave those little tidbits about, like he says, just jump or something. You may fall down that cliff. You may get bloody. You may get tore up a little bit. But he says, man, if you're just doing the mundane and you're doing life at one step at a time, or you're doing that same thing every day, same old thing, and it's just not going anywhere, you don't feel fulfilled, he said, you need to jump. You need to jump. And then I just read something, I can't even think about it, man, but it motivated me. Another actor, another principal person in some area basically just said the same thing. I forget even what I looked at. And he was like, just talking about taking that chance, you just, if you're going to do it, you just got to do it. You don't necessarily know where it's going to lead to, There's no promises. I mean, I can't give any motivational speech here, offering guarantees or whatever. But, Steve Harvey put it good. Well, just jump. If you got something to write it, I can't necessarily give all the advice where to go. You can find publishers, book publishers out there. Getting a script picked up, I don't think it's an easy thing. And it's not always an easy thing anyway to get a production. A lot of it's networking. A lot of it is who you know. Actually just heard a story not too long ago about a movie that got into Sundance. Sundance is a big thing. If you get your movie in Sundance, you're doing major things, And there was a movie producer that sent his in, and he had, there's always those kind of things that you could set up on your email or do whatever, and I don't even know anything about that. But this guy had it set up to where when he sent his movie in, he could actually go back and check it out and see how much of the movie was watched. And he found out that they watched half of his movie. And so
I need to know what that
the
website is.
Sundance or something that, sent it to Sundance. They watched half his movie and never gave him a call. So next thing you know, a few weeks goes by, it was dead in the water. It wasn't going to go anywhere. And somebody in the business contacted him that was a friend of his, said, hey, you get that into Sundance? Yeah, but they watched half of it and never. And long story short, the guy was like, let me make a phone call for you. Mm-hmm. He made a phone call. Next thing you know, he pulls it back up again, and they were watching it, and this time they watched the full thing, and it was accepted into the film festival.
Right.
And so a lot of it is who you know, who you're networking with, and that's the whole business with acting and everything, and a lot of businesses, I think, it's who you know, and matter of fact, somebody even said, I even read it this week, I think it had to do with scripts being made into movies and stuff. It says sometimes it's not even about your talent and how good the script was. It's about how you know. I'm not trying to say you can write something that isn't going to be very good and get it to go somewhere. I don't even want to say that, because it has to be good, and it's best to have something good that's winning awards and, that's making a name for itself. And so, I had the right people surrounded with me, and rather than have this person or produce it in LA or down in Kentucky or Atlanta, I said, let's produce it here. And so that's what we're doing.
That's a good look, because whether it's movies, commercials, or whatever, music, everybody got to feel they got to leave Ohio to get their start. And I say, I can't say what I want to say, but forget that. Ain't no need of leaving Ohio. We got so much talent. And everybody got to stop hating, whether it's movies, commercials, music. Everybody, whatever a person's doing, if you in acting
and we have to wrap up.
I'm good for a minute.
So my thing is, everybody do what you're supposed to do. It's not on you to put Ohio on the map. Ohio's been on the map. We just gotta bring it out there. Whether it's like ATL, it's like New York, it's like Miami, it's like California, it's like down south. Because a lot of people, they look over us, and people don't know. People come from Hollywood to do these movies because it's cheap here as far as the taxes.
Yeah, we got a good tax credit right now, which doesn't, by the way, help me out a bit.
It doesn't?
No, because you have to have at least spending or have a $300,000 budget to get that tax credit. And so I'm not going into my budget what it is, but it ain't going to be that. But at the same time, I'm not out here trying to do it on a no budget or $4,000 budget or a $10,000 budget, which a lot of the indie movies done in Ohio are anywhere between $0 to $12,000. And I figured I got the right people on board to make this a quality movie. We'll go ahead and cast the right people and do it right the first time and have the budget to where we can, do it right. And that way we will get distribution and it will be a success. And so that's kind of where we're at on that. So, yes, I mean, we are actually looking still for a few more investors. We're taking on some investors to get the extra $50,000 that we needed in that. And so we actually are offering some investment opportunities into the movie itself and getting a percentage of the overall net profit of it. And it doesn't take a rich person to get in on the ground floor of this movie, what we got going on, and become an investor. But we're only offering 25 units of investment, though, and that's it. And they're gone. And I've already had a couple people that's buying 2 units. I have one that's buying 3 units. So right there's, 6, 3 of the units gone, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've got multiple units already gone, so only a few are left on the table. If somebody's interested in that, they can contact me through the website, jimgloyd.com. Like I said, you don't have to be a rich person. And with that investment, you also get a producer credit in the movie. And for those that are already committed to buying more than 1 unit, they will get an executive producer credit in the movie. And with that, you also get to be cast as an extra in the film, so that you can see what it's like to see what it's like to be to see what a movie set is like. And so we're offering a couple things for the producer to actually get involved as well. And we're also offering this poster, and that's why it's right here. The investors are getting a copy of this, and they will be permitted to come out for greet and meet and get it signed and get pictures taken with the principal talent when they're there. We haven't cast a lead female yet, but we're looking at people like Jennifer Love Hewitt, Katherine Heigl, and people of those kind of names. So we will be casting
Marva
lead
Russell.
female. So she will probably be in it somewhere before it's over.
I don't see why.
I don't see why not.
Right, exactly. I got my vote. I got 5 votes for Marva. But
We want to wrap up with some shameless plugs and contact information for anyone out there who wants more information about the wager, more information about Jim Gloyd, investment opportunities, and the like. So, first of all, maybe first and foremost, there is jimgloyd.com, JIMGLOYD.com. He also has a book out, and that book is
Becoming Free from the Judas and Me. There is a page on my website for that as well. For the ebook, you go to Amazon.com, put Jim Gloyd in or Becoming Free from the Judas and Me, and that can be found very easily.
All right, there you have it. Jim Gloyd, actor, producer, director of The Wager, right now in pre-production. We've had him as our guest this past hour, and it's been a pleasure having you, Jim.
Thank you. Also, look it up on Facebook. The Wager has a Facebook page for the movie itself, and we'll be eventually listing casting calls for like extras and things on that as well, so they can contact us as well through that.
All right, so that's the Facebook page, The Wager, the THE, Wager, WAGER, The Wager. Is it like just The Wager or The Wager the movie?
The Wager.
Just The Wager.
Just The Wager.
There you have it.
all right. So coming up next, we're gonna be talking with Mr. Rob Ray,
Rob Ray.
and we're gonna be talking with Deathlock. So we're gonna take pictures, and we'll be back after this message.
Follow some sunshine, put it in my pocket. Put out on an ugly day, fly like a rocket. Every day I'm happy, I don't wanna be sad. Don't ever let the sun go down, you're all mine. Bottle of some moonshine, put it away and lock it. Pull it out on an ugly day, a wrench in my socket. So you say you're not happy, cause you lost your dad. Don't ever let the sun go down on the dreams you Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Dragons. Follow some good times, didn't keep it polished. If you're ever not happy, just take a downward glance. Don't ever let the sun go down on the things in your past. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Dragons.